My name is Myra Thompson, and I have been a fashion journalist. If you had met me a month ago, you could never have guessed what this name stands for. It all began in Helsinki, Finland. I was there covering the World Circular Fashion Summit, an event that draws designers and sustainability advocates from around the globe. I'd lined up interviews with several dignitaries, but one of the highlights was my conversation with Antonio Augustine, the Italian genius behind the Augustine brand. Charming, with that signature European elegance, Antonio was the kind of man who could silence a room with his mere presence. The interview was going well, with the usual banter about fashion's future, sustainability, and what inspired his latest collection. But then, out of nowhere, I asked him something ridiculous. Would you ever design a collection in my name? I meant it as a joke, of course. To my surprise, Antonio stopped mid-sentence, his dark eyes locking onto mine. Do you really want me to? He asked, his voice low and smooth. Caught off guard by his seriousness, I laughed nervously. Sure, why not? We both laughed, and the interview continued without missing a beat. I flew back to Boston the next day, assuming I'd never hear from Antonio again. Life returned to normal, or so I thought. 3 months later, a strange parcel arrived at my door. Inside, I found first-class tickets to Milan, a luxurious hotel reservation at the Milan Star, and a VIP pass to a premier fashion event. I followed fashion religiously, but I hadn't heard a peep about this event. Still, my curiosity was piqued, and who turns down a free trip to Milan? Fast forward to my arrival in Italy. The hotel was exquisite, with the kind of attention to detail takes your breath away. I was treated like royalty from the moment I arrived. The next morning, I was supposed to attend the fashion exhibition, but the ride there didn't go as planned. I remember being in the back seat of the hotel car, sipping on sparkling water, when I noticed the driver taking a strange turn. Before I knew it, 2 men appeared out of nowhere, and everything became a blur. I was blindfolded and driven for what felt like hours, though it was probably less than one. My heart pounded in my chest, but when I tried to ask where they were taking me, all I got was a stream of Italian I couldn't understand. When the blindfold came off, I found myself in a chaotic backstage area, surrounded by stylists, makeup artists, and an extremely fashionable woman named Leah, who fussed over me like I was a celebrity. I still didn't understand what was happening. Somehow, amidst the confusion, a sense of calm washed over me. Leah led me to the edge of the stage. I could hear the crowds murmur through the curtain, and my nerves started to spike again. And then the announcement came. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the most important personality of the evening, Miss Myra Thompson. Crowd erupted into cheers. I froze. Leah took my arm and guided me onto the stage, where bright lights blinded me for a moment. When my vision adjusted, I saw thousands of people clapping, cheering, for me. I was seated in the center, under a dazzling spotlight. My eyes scanned the backdrop, and there, in bold letters, was my name, Myra. Everywhere I looked, my name was on banners, screens, the program, everywhere. Before I could comprehend any of it, Antonio Augustine appeared beside me. He took my hand, leading me to the front of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced with a proud smile, let me introduce my most prestigious brand ever, Myra. The realization hit me like a freight train. Antonio hadn't been joking in Helsinki. He had actually created a collection, an entire fashion line, named after me. I stood there, stunned, as the crowd cheered. It was surreal, I couldn't speak. My eyes met Antonio's, and he leaned in close, whispering, I wanted to give you something no one else could. Later, he explained everything. The entire kidnapping ordeal was a charade, a dramatic build-up to the grand reveal. But that wasn't the only surprise. Antonio confessed that he had fallen in love with me the moment we met in Helsinki. This entire production, from the secret invitations to the fashion show, was his way of showing me how much I meant to him. I didn't know what to say. I'd been so caught up in the whirlwind of events that it was hard to process anything. But standing there, in front of thousands of people, with Antonio looking at me like I was the most important person in the world, I felt something shift inside me. It wasn't just a fashion line. It was the beginning of something more, something real. And that's how my name became a brand, and how I found love in the most unexpected of ways.